Hello, welcome to Clarity for SEO. Today in this session, we will discuss the important article, the important news with respect to your IRDAI examination. All right. So recently, what LIC has decided that LIC is going to enter into the Bond FRA market. All right. Bond FRA markets is a forward market likely to boost the long-term government securities. So LIC is actually planning to hedge the interest rate risk. That's why it is going to enter. And in this, with this decision, LIC is going to make a deal with 10 major banks located in domestic as well as foreign. So we will try to understand each and every aspect of this news and how it is important for your examination as well. Since this has been a declaration by LIC, so you can expect one question from here in your phase 2 examination. All right. And we will also see that FRA, the bond market and FRA markets, what's the difference between both these FRA as well as bond markets. We will also try to understand the primary difference between these two components. All right. So let's look into the session now. See here. First of all, we will discuss that what was there in the news. So as you can see in the slide, the LIC has formally entered into the forward rate agreements, that is FRA's market, from Q1 of financial year 25-26, that is FY26. All right, the Q1, which is over now, that is April to June, after some trials that has been held in the last year only. Okay, it has done the FRA deal with 10 major banks, both domestic as well as foreign. LIC plans to soon start the bond forwards, BFs, bond forwards. Okay. Once the Clearing Corporation of India will get its note, is once it will provide the platform, when the platform will get ready, then LIC will enter the bond forwards also. And in this slide only, we will try to understand the difference between FRAs and the bond forwards. All right. So what can be the difference? Right now, LIC enter into this, and what will happen when LIC opt bond forward as well? Right. LIC now accounts to 39% of total 2.6 billion FRA volumes. This is a factual figure that you can also use in your answers. If any question particular to FRA will be asked in your phase 2 examination. Now, why this decision is important? In what respect? See here, what is the importance of this news actually? Hedging needs. Hedging means protection, right? So LIC has been increasing the share of non-participating, that is non-par policies. Non-participating means non-par policies. Okay, in its portfolio to improve the profit margin. अभी क्या है भाई non-participating non-par policies? So these are those products in which insurer means the company. Insurer means the company that is insuring your product must deliver a fixed guaranteed returns. Okay, so they must need to deliver at fixed guaranteed returns. It is not fluctuating like, okay, ये shares की तरह नहीं काम करता है कि fluctuating नहीं होता कि profit हुआ तो आपको ही profit होगा, loss हुआ तो you also bear the loss. Alright, वैसा नहीं काम करता. Non-par जो है, non-participating policies, as the name says, participate नहीं कर, non-participating policies. These are the insurance plans where policy holders do not share in profits. Profits. Insurer must deliver a fixed guarantee return. ऐसा नहीं कि कंपनी को प्रॉफिट हो रहा है तो पॉलिसी होल्डर्स को भी एक्स्ट्रा प्रॉफिट मिलेगा. नो, देयर इज नो सच बोनस टाइप ऑफ थिंग्स. ऑलराइट, this makes the LIC more exposed to interest rate risk. If the interest rate falls, then also insurer has to provide a fixed guaranteed returns. तो वहां पे exposure हो जाता है LIC decided. But in most of the cases, we expect that with the time, interest rate actually rises. So at that very moment, it will be beneficial for LIC type of institutions which is providing the guarantee to its policyholders. Okay, bond FRAs let LIC lock in future rates, future interest rates, and hedge against the rate volatility, especially for long-term liabilities. Basically more than 30 years है ना. उसके लिए FRAs है, जब वहां पे क्या होता है कि फ्यूचर डेट पे इंटरेस्ट रेट डिसाइड होता है और लॉक इन पीरियड जो है ना 30 years से ज्यादा, उसके बाद एक फिक्स गारंटीड एट द टाइम ऑफ मैच्योरिटी policy holders को मिलता है under this FRAs, right? Now coming to the next slide, see here definition is given. State-owned life insurance corporation has officially entered the FRAs market through transaction with 10 major banks located both in domestic as well as foreign. making a strategic move to manage the interest rate risk associated with its portfolio. So it is for the purpose of means FRAs का जब concept आएगा तो you just link this with interest rate, है ना, इंटरेस्ट रेट रिस्क को मिनिमाइज करने के लिए ये FRAs में इंटर किया है, वो भी लॉन्ग टर्म्स. तो समवेयर इट इज गोइंग टू बूस्ट द लॉन्ग टर्म गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज आल्सो. उनका जो है उनका डिमांड जो है it will increase into the market. This can be the direct impact since it is being guaranteed by the state and corporation like LIC. So it is going to give a direct impact, but may narrow the forward spreads affecting the profitability of small market players. So ये स्मॉल मार्केट जो छोटे छोटे इंश्योरर्स है, छोटे छोटे इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज है, उनकी प्रॉफिट को कहीं ना कहीं ये हैम्पर करेगा, बिकॉज पॉलिसी होल्डर्स द वन हु इज विलिंग टू बाय द पर्टिकुलर पॉलिसी, दो they will look onto the more secured policies, more secured return. So, and if they are trying to invest for long terms, then obviously they will opt for this under the FRA routes. All right. तो FRA का यहाँ पे definition भी दिया है, as you can see, forward rate agreements, as the name says, forward rate agreement means agreement कहाँ पे हुआ है? At forward rate, future rate. ठीक है? Is a financial contract between the two parties to lock in an interest rate for a specified future period on a notional principal amount. कुछ प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट होगा, नोशनल होगा, नॉमिनल होगा, उस पे क्या है, लॉक इन पीरियड ऑफ इंटरेस्ट रेट फॉर फ्यूचर स्पेसिफाइड फ्यूचर पीरियड. द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट सेटल इन कैश based on the difference between agreed upon forward rate and actual market interest rate on the settlement. The purpose of FRAs are primarily used by the institutions like bank and insurers to hedge against the fluctuation in interest rates. जब interest rate high हो जाता है तो वहां के टाइम पे to hedge against the fluctuation in interest rate, दिस अ पर्पस बिहाइंड द बैंक्स कि वहां पे उनको ज्यादा पेमेंट ना करना पड़े, जो पहले से प्री डिटरमाइंड है, जो मैच्योरिटी के टाइम पे उनको पॉलिसी होल्डर्स को देना है, उतना ही अमाउंट देके वो सेटलमेंट हो जाए, राइट. तो उसके लिए है बेसिकली. बाय फिक्सिंग अ रेट इन एडवांस दे मैनेज द रिस्क ऑफ रेट राइजिंग और फेलिंग इन फ्यूचर व्हिच इंपैक्ट्स द बोरोइंग कॉस्ट और इन्वेस्टमेंट. सो दीज आर टू पर्पस for this behind this FRAs, right. Now coming to the next slide, with an example we will try to understand. In bond FRAs, the underlying is a government security. जो underlying जो bond है ना, it is a government security. इसलिए government securities को 30 years bond. For example, LIC expect to buy 30-year government bond in December at the rate of interest 7. Yield क्या है? Interest 7% of interest. It signs that FRA now with a bank to fix that yield. बैंक के साथ ये yield fix हो गया 7%. If in December the yield falls to 6.5%, अगर yield जो है ना इंटरेस्ट रेट ये 6.5% है, तो बैंक कंपनसेट द LIC फॉर द लॉस वाया कैश सेटलमेंट. जो 0.5% का जो लॉस है ना, ये कैश सेटलमेंट के थ्रू बैंक को LIC को देना पड़ेगा, ये लॉस थ्रू कैश सेटलमेंट्स. ओके. और रिमेनिंग जो है वो नो फिजिकल डिलीवरी ऑफ बॉन्ड्स इन टिपिकल FRA, जस्ट कैश सेटलमेंट होता है. ठीक है. तो जो लॉस जो होगा 7% में भी फिक्स किया कि दिसंबर में 7% पे हम विड्रॉ करेंगे, और दिसंबर में इंटरेस्ट रेट जो है या ये यील्ड रेट है वो इट बिकम 6.5%. तो ये जो डिफरेंस अमाउंट है ना, जो बैंक को LIC को पे करना होगा, इट मस्ट बी इनटू द कैश सेटलमेंट. ये कैश के थ्रू, इसको कैश एडजस्टमेंट के थ्रू पेमेंट करना होगा LIC इंश्योरर. बॉन्ड फॉरवर्ड्स में क्या होता है, जो दूसरा कॉन्सेप्ट है जो मैंने बोला था कि FRAs और बॉन्ड फॉरवर्ड का डिफरेंस मैं बताऊंगा. बॉन्ड फॉरवर्ड्स में क्या होता है, हाउ इट इज गोइंग टू डिफर, विद एन एग्जांपल वी विल अंडरस्टैंड. Bond forwards mostly the concept is same, but with delivery of bond at maturity. यहाँ पे bond नहीं मिलता है, just cash adjustment होता है. But here you are going to get a bond at maturity. So maturity हुआ suppose 30 years के बाद, तो you are going to get a physical bond, right, in the form of paper. तो bond यहाँ पे मिलता है, actually में securities में. Example, LIC agreed today to buy a specific 30-year bond at an interest rate of 7% yield in December. ठीक है. 30 years का एग्री हो गया. ऑन एग्रीड डेट द बैंक डिलीवर्स द बॉन्ड टू LIC एट द यील्ड ऑफ 7%. नो नीड फॉर LIC टू सर्च द मार्केट फॉर दैट. उस बॉन्ड के लिए ना मार्केट उसको सर्च करने का कोई जरूरत नहीं, उसको मिल जाएगा, बॉन्ड्स मिल जाएगा सीधे सीधे, क्योंकि बॉन्ड सेटलमेंट है. यहाँ पे फॉरवर्ड जो है ना कैश नहीं है, फॉरवर्ड बॉन्ड, फ्यूचर डेट में बॉन्ड आपको मिलता है. यू आर गोइंग टू गेट द बॉन्ड एट द टाइम ऑफ मैच्योरिटी. बेनिफिट, इट एलिमिनेट्स द सेटलमेंट रिस्क and bond sourcing issues that can happen with FRAs. FRAs का ये जो ड्रॉबैक्स है वो इसमें बेनिफिट, मतलब यहाँ पे वो चीज नहीं. सेटलमेंट रिस्क कैसे होगा सेटलमेंट, कैश एडजस्टमेंट होगा नहीं होगा, वो सब चीज का रिस्क खत्म हो गया। और बॉन्ड सोर्सिंग इशू की बॉन्ड सोर्स कौन करेगा, कहाँ से आएगा, यहाँ पे बैंक ही डिलीवर करने वाला है। जिस बैंक के साथ LIC ने एग्रीमेंट किया है वही 30 इयर्स के बाद, आफ्टर 30 इयर्स, दैट बैंक विल डिलीवर द बॉन्ड टू LIC। यही बैंक दे देगा बॉन्ड। तो वो ये एक बेनिफिट्स है बॉन्ड फॉरवर्ड्स, राइट। यहाँ पे कुछ डिफरेंस पॉइंट्स है, you can go through these the primary difference between the FRAs and the bonds. Nature of contract, see here, nature of contract: agreement to lock in the interest rate on the notional amount for future date. Here, agreement to buy or sell a specific bond at predetermined price on future date. यहाँ पे bond का बात, ठीक है, यहाँ पे interest rate का बात है। Settlement in cash based on the difference between the agreed rate and market rate. Market rate, suppose it is become 6.5%, agreed rate is 7%, then the settlement will be in the cash of the difference, 0.5% difference में cash settlement होगा। और यहाँ पे physical delivery of bond at contract maturity, no cash settlement is there। यहाँ पे सीधा सीधा आपको bond ही मिलने वाला है after 30 years on the specified date। Underlying assets, interest rate is the underlying assets, क्योंकि interest rate के साथ deal करता है FRAs, and here the underlying assets will be bond, the government bonds, okay, or the securities। Risk mitigation, hedge the interest rate, interest rate fluctuation का रिस्क को मिनिमाइज करता है FRAs में। एंड हियर hedge interest rate plus actual bond delivery, okay, reducing the procurement risk, क्योंकि बैंक सीधा सीधा LIC को वो बॉन्ड एट द टाइम ऑफ मैच्योरिटी दे देगा, ठीक है। तो ये सब रिस्क को मिटिगेट करता है। मार्केट यूजेस, commonly used by banks, insurers to hedge the interest rate risk on liability or assets, and it is used by insurers as well as investors to lock in the bond prices and ensure the delivery of bond on that particular maturity date। तो यहाँ पे investors भी आते हैं। यहाँ पे it is basically being used by banks as well as insurers, means company, to hedge the interest rate risk associated with that particular policy, okay। Settlement risk requires sourcing bonds at settlement for hedging if needed, adding the market risk. Here it eliminates the settlement risk as the bond delivery is contractually guaranteed by the bank itself, right। Regulatory status in India: allowed and widely used for interest rate risk management, FRAs, and with respect to bond forwards, recently permitted by RBI and IRDAI, expanding the hedging rules, okay। And it is waiting for the permission of, means waiting for the platform of Clearing Corporation of India, okay। So these are the basic difference between FRA and bond forwards, okay। That's all for today, my dear students। And at last, we have a mentorship program for IRDAI, and in this program we provide the complete coverage of your course right from phase 1, phase 2, along with interview guidance. Here QRE crash course is being provided, GA PDF every month, 15 days, 50 on basis of 15 day PDF, 1 to 15, then 16 to 30. On this basis, PDFs will be provided. Then you will get the complete notes in the form of PDF for ESI, insurance management. Under this program, you will get the video lectures over ESI, insurance and management as well. Then descriptive questions for all the chapters along with classes. And in this session, we try to cover the things in the form of Q&A session, okay, means on each and every topic of ESI as well as insurance, each and every topic will be covered through Q&A session along with the basic classes. Basic classes over the cons is also there, but along with that Q&A session is also there, because ultimately in phase 2 you have to write the examination using pen and paper on paper only. That's why things are being covered in question and answer format. After that, we are also providing you descriptive English classes, descriptive sectional as well as full length test for phase 1 as well as phase 2, right, for English sectional as well. So these are the things that we are providing in this mentorship program of IRDAI, and along with these things, you are also being provided with mentoring support from our mentors, okay। So that's all for today, my dear students. The price of the course is 2100, 2100. All right, okay, bye bye, see you in next session. Have a nice day.